Two innocent people walking in the streets of Washington, D.C. are just gunned down, coming from a somewhat of a Jewish event. I don't know exactly what the event. Innocent individuals. Ooh, what does that mean to me and to you? Me as an identifiable Jew, is that like I should be frightened now to identify as a Jew, to go to a Jewish event, and who knows what can happen? Let's listen to the following on a newscast from Chris Cuomo. It's very powerful. But on the flip side, I want to share something. I don't want that we're left with the fright, because that's actually, in a way, I don't say it's worse than the murder, but the effect of it is so over the top for me and for all of us that can't be the message. Listen in, and then let's talk.
Camera shouting "Free Palestine," and as he was arrested, he kept chanting the slogan and said, "I did it for Gaza." So why the F are all these people on the left saying "if true"? And if that's who he is, and if he's not an IDF plant, and you don't want any of the blame for what just happened on you? He is described as what he is. He said what he said. Stop asking why people who understand what we're up against, like Douglas Murray, caution Joe Rogan against his comic buddies bashing Israel for sport and to develop a following. Prosecutors allege this guy fired nearly 24 bullets in this attack because he wanted to kill as many as he could. And we know what's feeding the fire, right? Don't pretend to not know what this is about. The man has been conditioned to identify with the oppression in Gaza as if he's one of them, and there are so many like him here, in our families, on our campuses. Did he know one of his victims wasn't a Jew? I love how people are using that as it somehow mitigates what this was about. You know he didn't know, right? He was there to kill Jews, obviously. But imagine if you're right, and he did know that one of them was not Jewish. So now they're targeting not just Jews, but those who stand with Jews? Now, if it's not true, and I doubt it is, that he knew, it is certainly what Islamists instruct on the extreme side, here on American soil. Did he know that the two people he murdered were leaving an event that was about coordinating more aid to Gaza? Would it even matter when he's constantly told that Israel is starving as part of a genocide? And many feeding his broken brain are in America in positions of influence and power. And even though same people are now saying they're disgusted by this, even though it's the latest manifestation of their efforts. And they're saying they're against anti-Semitism, like the Squad and its putative leader, AOC. Absolutely nothing justifies the murder of innocents. Anti-Semitism is a threat to all we hold dear as a society. It must be confronted and rooted out everywhere. Did I miss the word Jews in there in terms of who was killed? Odd omission. Odd omissions. They're not just innocents. He just didn't go into a school and fire away. He was looking for Jews. You know, the people you say are conducting a genocide. Those people. Now, of course, AOC doesn't just say what I just read, right? Nor do her colleagues, right? And it's all those other signals and suggestions that foment what we saw here and on our campuses. And you can make the case. Hold it. You can make the case. Don't draw a moral equivalency between the murder of two and the murder of thousands. Okay. In Gaza. Okay. But what are you leaving out in that? I'll tell you what the parallel is. Okay. These murders were precipitated by hate of Jews, just like October 7th. And what's happening in Gaza is being done by the people who were targeted. And Hamas, not freedom fighters, terrorists, refuse to disarm, refuse to stop hiding among civilians, refuse to stop stealing the aid for civilians, and refuse to return who they stole. And these two victims did nothing to this guy who killed them, whereas the people in Gaza, many of whom don't support Hamas, but many who do, October 7th is on Hamas. And until they turn over their people and surrender, how can you draw a moral equivalence between what Israel is doing and what started that? You can say it's too much. Of course it is. You can say there should be more aid. Of course there should. But the nexus of all of it necessarily goes back to the terrorists who started it, who are still there, with the tacit, if not open, respect and support of many people in this country. We have no idea how deep this problem goes here at home. Democrats, my brothers and sisters, I understand why you're worried about Trump. I understand why you call him an ultimate evil, but I don't agree. And if you want the ultimate evil, look at the Islamists, the extreme ones in America, not just Muslims. And mind your dogs who are doing their bidding. What am I talking about? Look online to the reaction. Americans calling a terrorist a hero again, saying he, like the healthcare CEO murderer, was justified in violence. It's the same thing I've heard in Iraq and Afghanistan, but now echoing from Indiana. This is not a one-off. It's just one more of what we choose to ignore.
Ooh. He's right on it. Wow. Conditioned to hate. And now they're after even those who stand with Jews, not just Jews. In the case of moral equivalency, yeah, as he said, it's on Hamas, whatever's going on in Gaza. And back home, it's a deep problem, in fact. But there's one thing that comes out of this that that needs a balance. That is the fright. And that is how deep the problem is. And there's truth on some level to both things. That, yeah, you could be frightened now to express your Jewishness outwardly, as me. Yes, there is a deep problem in what students are doing on campus and what others who are through their hate speech are creating not just hate, but murderous individuals. This is just probably could be the tip of the iceberg, and there could be just an avalanche that will happen. Could very well be. But there's another side to the story too. I don't know to the story. There's another response over here. And this is a unique response from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, from my teacher, my mentor, my Rebbe, that in these painful, and let's be very clear, painful incident that just happened, a horrific occurrence in Washington and other places, other things that are happening around the world, no doubt. But from the pain needs to come action. And action is not sufficient to call it out. And thank you, Mr. Chris Cuomo, for what you have done, because you're honest broker and you're saying it as it is. And I thank you. But that's not a call to action. That's just pointing out the ills of society, or the ills of some of society, which again is necessary, but it is far from what we need to do. What we need to do is to come together and when in the moment of pain to bring to action of more goodness and kindness, of another mitzvah, for Jewish people, it means a greater identity with your Jewishness, not less because of this. Greater. Yes, be careful when you're in the public sphere. Be more alert. Fine. Absolutely. But don't be afraid. You can't live in fright. Otherwise, you're not living. And not only that, you're allowing the enemy to be victorious. But moreover is choose a mitzvah for their souls that are gone. Choose a mitzvah. Men, put on tefillin. Women, light Shabbos candles Friday night. Give extra charity for their souls and for all of humanity. To bring a unity of the Jewish people and to bring to all of humanity a greater sense of purpose of God's intended purpose for all of humanity, goodness and kindness, the seven Noahide laws of universal laws of all of humanity, to everybody to engage in something. If you're not Jewish, so then do one of the seven universal laws. Be charitable. Do an act of loving kindness to someone. Call up your mother, who maybe you didn't call up for the last week, and say hello. Get the drift. We can't allow darkness and evil to overtake us and then to be frightened as a result of what's going on. We have to allow God's presence in our lives to be real. And God's presence is to bring us to do more good. And through his being more present in my life, then he will be more present in the world. And then we will defeat the evil, because with the light of godliness that we introduce through the mitzvah that we do, we will push away with a little act of our goodness, with our mitzvah that we do, we'll push away a lot of darkness and bring real redemption. Let's join in with this. Want to hear more about this? Join me daily for Tanya, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every day. Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Catch it live or catch it afterwards, when we learn about how to deal with the darkness of this world, how to deal with our personal darkness to change the world for good.